Good morning. It's Sunday, November 16th. And this is the deer leg tendon sinew backed hickory bow that was fire hardened, that I've been monitoring the moisture. I figured it was going to be a hunting bow for next year. But now that I'm testing it, okay, no matter where I test it, it's zero because I have forced dried air in my house and everything is nice and dry. And this is the Knox gelatin. And I love the Knox gelatin. It just seems to work great. So I put tillering marks on the ends of the fade outs. The midpoint, I have a tillering mark, and 3/4 down from the bottom of the string groove. And we're going to do a little tillering today. See how it goes. As you can see, besides the fire hardening on the backset jig and the sinew pulling the limbs tighter, it's got a really nice backset to it. Now, I could barely pull it down just to hook it here. It's got to be like an 80-pound bow. So before we do anything, I got to do a lot of weight reduction. So I'm going to take off like 30 strokes on each limb and then revisit this. Let me start off by telling you that I sanded the edges to get the glue off. I sanded the back of the bow, the part that's away from you, with 60 grit, then 120 grit to make it as smooth as I could. Then I marked the tillering marks. It's like a hurricane out here today. So a little at a time with my belt sander, I took like 10 strokes off at a time. I got like 60 strokes off. And before I take any more off, I want to get it just a little below level so I could use the yardstick and show you what it looks like. So I got a little pressure on it now. And there we go. Between 18 and 19. And you can't look at the siding and this post because it moves. So I look at the back of the riser and try to make it level. And then I'm going to look at the tillering marks, and I have a pencil here. So if you look at it, it don't look bad, right? And here you can see there's a dip on the end here. So the yardstick makes us remove a little bit of material at a time where it needs to be, so the stress is equally distributed throughout the bow. So here we go. We're going to put it on the bottom of the fade out tillering mark, which is all measured out precisely. And we're going to look at this here and see what kind of bend we got and where the flat spots are. So we have a bend here, and then from here it starts to drop. And then if you look at the very end, right, look at the very end over here, it's a big dip. Okay, so that's where we got to remove material. And if we're looking just to see how much it's bending, I'm using the marks on the pencil head for now, just to get a rough idea how much material I got to take off one limb versus the other limb. So here we go. Now, if you look at this, I'm standing back so you can see we actually have a very nice bend on this limb, on the bottom limb. Okay, it looks good. I can't, at this point in time, see any flat spots, but we can tell that this is bending more than that limb. So we're going to be working on that limb, and whenever you take material off one limb, you check the other limb, okay? So we're going to go back and forth and check and remove material. I removed those high spots, and then I took off at least 20 strokes over here. And now we're going to pick and choose. It's very heavy, so a lot of material has to come off both limbs yet. But we're going to just see what we did. Okay, so if we look at this now, we do see some improvements, right? We do have a little bigger bend here. And then we got from here to here, it has to come off. Okay, we got a flat spot right around here. All right, maybe a little bit, a couple strokes here. So this is what we got to work on, the flat spot here. And then let's look over here. Let me just show you the difference too, by the way. See, we got the whole metal head there of the pencil in there. We'll get more precise later. Right now, it's so heavy it don't matter. So here we go. We're looking on this side now. And remember I told you do something to one side, it affects the other side. So now we can see here that it starts going up here, and then we got a flat spot. Okay? So that limb's bending about a 1/4 inch more is what we want, but it's too early for that. So we're going to try and get the flat spots out. Before we even go down 1 more inch, we want to get both limbs as perfect as we can. I suggest after you mark the pencil marks where you have to take down the flat spots, let's say it was in between here and here. You take 60 grit sandpaper, start rubbing in the middle, and expand. So you're creating a little more off than the edges, all right? And you do that until the pencil mark disappears. And you may have to add the pencil mark a few times. And even if it takes you 2 days, it's safe. That, you know, to tiller it with sandpaper, it's safe. I'm using a belt sander and I'm doing strokes, and I can mess up real easy. But like I said, you know, I worked with these things my whole life. I was even a disc grinder for a while in my life. And you see how it is? I put my hand in the middle of the belt and I follow the contour as I'm going. I'm like following the contour as I'm removing material. And I don't suggest you do that because, you know, you can end a beautiful bow with like $150 sinew on it if you bought it processed, you know, in a blink of an eye. All right, but this is very heavy and I'm careful. So let's see what we got now. So I took down those high spots and the one limb that wasn't bending enough. I took like another 20 strokes off, and it's starting to flex more now. Now I'm starting to get it to flex a little bit easier, and I have to pay attention and really take my time and only take off a little bit where it needs be, okay? And then I'm going to start rounding the edges with 120 grit too. So let's check these tillering marks out and see what we got here. Okay, great, that fell down. Like I said from the beginning, we're careful all along throughout the whole process. We take our time and make sure we don't remove too much weight. But now we have it flexing a little, we're getting the bends a little better. You slow down. Don't remove as much material, okay? And we're going to take, after I get done removing material, I'm going to take 120 grit and round the edges, okay, every time. So let's see what we got here. We got a nice bend going on, okay, and it looks like it's got to bend a little more from here to here. Okay, but let's see what we got for a distance just to see how much it's bending. And this is early on. Just a little shy of 3/4 of an inch. And let's see what we got over here. This is the bottom limb. Okay. We got a nice bend on the inner, and then we got a dip here. Okay. Let's see what else we got. We needed to bend here and here. And what do we have for a distance on this? About a 1/2 inch. And even though we do want the top limb bending a 1/4 inch more, it's early yet. We barely have it flexing, okay? So we're going to remove material and come back and see what we wind up with. It's big rim hat time, so we can actually see with the sun's glare what's going on. So now if we look at this here, and the idea is we kind of want a mirror image. We want a mirror image from here to here, okay? And when we look at this, I'm looking to see where it needs to bend a little more. You could bend a little more in here, just a little bit. And maybe a stroke or two off of here. Okay, now if we look at this limb here, we have a really nice bend. We got the outer bending a lot more, and we got to remove some material here, just here a little bit, and we got to be very careful we don't go down too much. So let's see what we got, just for the heck of it. We got that 3/4 on the bottom limb. And we got 5/8 on the top limb, 5/8 on the top limb. Okay, so we're going to work them a little bit more and come back. As I mentioned earlier, I'm rounding the edges of the belly, the part that faces your belly. And then as we go down, I'm going to gently flex a little bit, and then we're going to take measurements. Even though we're nowhere near where we need to be yet, we got a long, long way to go before we put a string on it. Okay, I flexed them a little bit, and let's see what kind of bend we got. It's down at the same mark that it's been. Haven't moved it down yet. And now if we look at this, you can see there's really no flat spots, and we got a nice bend going on. And let's see what the gap is that we have. It's 3/4, okay? 3/4. Let's see what we got over here. And I think the bottom limb needs to bend a little more, but let's see what we got. Okay, I want you to see that now we have a better bend throughout, right? If you look, it looks a little flat from here to here, very little bit. Let's see what we got. We got about 3/4 there too, but I think I want this to bend ever so slightly here. And I think I'm going to sand it off a couple of hand sand it a little bit and come back. It's a slow, tedious process, but let's see what we got. Okay, now we have what you call a nice, really beautiful bend going on. A little more on the inner than the outer, but it's got a nice bend. We have just a hair less than 3/4, just a split hair less than 3/4 on the top lip. Let's see what we got on the bottom. Now, if we look, we took care of that little bit of bow there, that bend. And we have an 1/8 more than 3/4 because we got that bend to where we want it. It's just, that one's slightly less than 3/4. This one's slightly more than 3/4. This is a 1/16 more. That's a 1/16 less. Okay, so let's look at the bends. They're acceptable. They're good. Let's check out over here. Okay, so if we're going to remove material, we want to remove material from where we think it needs to be. And as we look overall, from here to here, could use a little bit more material taken off. So it's a process. You know, you could fast forward it if you want. But the bottom line is you have to go back and forth and don't remove a lot of material, because you'll wind up with a kiddie bow. All right, I'd like to have a hunting weight bow, but you never know what happens. You know, when sometimes, even though everything's perfect, when you throw a string on, you're almost ready to throw a string on, one limb bends so much, you know, due to different things, the rise location and everything, that you have to reduce more weight than you want. So I try to leave it a little heavier until I put the string on, like 5 pounds, at least 5 pounds heavier than I think it should be. Let's see how I did. I removed this spot where I thought it needed to be removed and a couple extra strokes up top to get it bending a little more positive before we go down another inch. Now I have like a 1/16 more than 3/4, and if we look back at that bend, it looks really good. And we have a nice smooth even bend here, and we have 3/4. So we're going to go down 1 more inch now. We're at the point we're going to go down 1 more inch, and we'll see what jumps out. And the thing is, if you go down 1 inch at a time, it shouldn't be any dramatic changes. You'll see minute changes that you can correct, so you don't get a hinge or whatever. And you were looking for flat spots and dips and anything that stands out. Now look at that. It's a beautiful, beautiful bend we got here, right? And don't look at the back. You never look at the back of the bow. You're only looking at the belly for the bends. Okay. Then we got like the inch here, and it looks good. It's a nice, even, beautiful bend. We got like 7/8, which is very good. We're going to go down another inch, and we're going to make sure we don't go down too much weight. Okay, so it's pulling pretty good. It's going to be a strong bow, a nice strong bow for hunting. I don't see any reason why it won't get to my draw length or break. Right at this point in time, remember, there's no moisture in the sinew. It's well dried. There's no moisture in the limbs. And when I say no moisture, it's not dry like a potato chip. My meter reads 4% or less. So there's around 4% moisture in these limbs. Okay? Because every once in a while I got a little flash, so I know it's 4% or so in the limbs and the sinew. So look at this here. Beautiful bend, right? I mean, it really looks nice. And there's no hinges, nothing materializing. And if there was, we could take care of it at this point. Okay, got like 1 1/8 inches. Let's look over here. Okay. And if you look, it looks really good, right? We have almost 1 1/8 inches. Okay, we're going to go down 1 more inch. And at some point, we're going to decide we're going to put a scale on and see what weight we have to the distance we're going. But we're going to go down another inch. Okay, let's see what we got. We got a perfect bend going on. I'm very happy with it. It looks like we got 1 3/8 inches. There's nothing that jumps out. It's beautiful. We got 1 1/4 inches. 1/8 inch positive on top. Very good. And what we have to do to get down to a 6-inch brace height is, let's see where we got to it. It's on the top of this here for a 6-inch brace height. So we're going to try and get one a little less. Once we get it to here, we're going to put a string on it, okay? It'll be 5 and something, 5 and 5.5 or so for a brace height, okay? So let's see. We're almost there. Well, not almost there. We got to go down quite a few inches. All right, let's go down 1 more inch. I can tell we're going to have to remove some material at some point. It's just a little too heavy. But not yet. Not yet. I'm looking for bends, something that don't jump out. I really don't care about the distance that much. Right? No abrupt hinges, no nothing. It is what it is. And I'm looking at the belly, not the back. Because on this smaller piece, I think there was a little humps and bumps or something, but I took it down. It almost looked like a board bow. I sanded everything off and then scuffed it with the 36 grit before I put the sinew on. And there's nothing here that jumps out either, right? So I'm going to get a scale and just pull it down to here and see what kind of weight we got at this point. So moving right along, you see how much time it takes at the beginning, but after that it drops right down fairly easy. But you got to be meticulous those first couple inches. Down to this mark right here where we had it, and just see what it registers on pounds. It's 41 pounds. It's 41 pounds, and I really want to lighten it a little bit before we put a string on it. So I'm going to take just a few strokes off and then recheck everything. All right, I don't want it 40 pounds before I put a string on it because I want like a 44-pound bow. That's my goal, right? And it's going to jump up more than 4 pounds, all right, as I pull it down. So I'm going to take off a little bit and then look for a string. I removed some weight. I put it on the tillering tree just to check it again, and I just pulled it down to that mark that I had, and everything was fine. It's about 1/8 of an inch positive on top. Found a string. I got to put a serving on it. Let's see what we got here. We got on the outside of 6 1/4 for the top, and we got the 6 1/8. So we have an 1/8 inch positive so far. We got 5 1/2 on the top. We got 5 1/4. So we got a little positive tiller going on. We got 5 1/4 inch brace, which is very short. I'm going to exercise it a little bit. I think I'm going to go in and leave the string on. I'm going to serve it. There's no serving. It's a new string. And I think we're going to short draw it and shoot it in. That's the goal. So in the house, put a serving on, and we're going to do a little short shooting. Okay, we got some 500 spine legacies with 125 grain tips. Not really sure of the length, but we're going to short draw this just to get the bow flexing and shooting. I don't want to go back to my draw length. I want to shoot a few times and get this flexing and releasing. I'm going to shoot this a couple of more times, and if I get it back to my draw length, when I get it back to my draw, when I get it back to my draw length, I'll start the video again and I'll show you shooting it. Did 6 rounds of 4, and then I'm looking at the tiller, and I think the bottom is bending a little more, which means I have to lighten the top. I hope I can still maintain a hunting weight. But the last shot I took, I came back to my draw, so we're going to shoot at my draw now. And then we're going to check the weight. Okay, I grabbed the broadhead. Why? I don't know. I practice broadhead. I put a red mark on the arrow. Let's try and shoot that deer target that's on top of the block. See if the broadhead flies good. But it don't matter. I got to change the tiller anyway. I got to change it all up because the bottom limb has a little more bend than the top limb. And we got to even it out. At whatever the cost is, it's got to be right. Okay, not bad. Take a quick look. Okay, even with a messed up tiller, 10 yards, it's only 10 yards, but still I get a nice group. I was aiming over here, so it's off an inch or two. Now we got to go back out front and retiller this. But before we do that, I did bring the little hand scale out. I know I'm going to be disappointed because I don't think it's going to be a hunting weight bow when I get done tillering that top limb. But it'll be a heck of a 3D bow, but I have enough 3D bows. Well, let me see where we got here. Okay. $42 pounds. I would have been happy with this at 42 pounds. I would have been happy, but I got to make the top limb bend a little more. It's like a hurricane out here. My son took one of the self bows I made, I gave him, and he's hunting on the ground in a patch of pines where you've seen a buck a couple of times. I hope he gets it today, but really like a hurricane out here today. And let's go correct this. Hopefully I don't have to remove too much weight. Okay, here we are back out front. I got 5 3/4 inches from here, and I got 4 3/4. The bottom is bending an inch more. And then what do we got here? The fade out. We got 6 1/8, and we got 5 5/8. So the top limb has to bend a lot. But guess what? This is sinew. This sinew has nothing on it, just sinew, and it's been just sanded a little bit. There's no polyurethane, there's nothing on it. So what we're going to do is after I get this even, I have more sinew. I'm going to use a little alcohol, clean it up, and then at some point I'm going to put some warm water to activate this again and lay more sinew on for a little more power lamination, which is great. So if we're a little short, a little lightweight, we could add a couple of layers for power, and that could increase the poundage. All right, so it's going to work out. All right, it just clicked. It clicked like what I got done videoing in the backyard. I'm like, this bow is freshly sinewed. All I got to do is add more sinew to add more weight. So let me correct it and show you what we come up with, and then I'll add more sinew later. Okay, I adjusted it a little bit, but since the bottom limb is bending more, guess what we're going to do? We're going to add more sinew to the bottom limb. We're going to add more sinew to the bottom limb. Let it dry, keep checking the moisture again, and hopefully in another month, we'll check in on the tillering tree and see if it worked out. See if we made a lot more weight out of this bow here. Okay, like a 44-pound bow, I think it's obtainable at my 26.5-inch draw length with a nice riser and a shelf. And you saw it was shooting pretty good, right? So to be continued. Added some more deer leg sinew to the bottom limb to give it a little more strength and structure, because the bottom limb was bending a little more, and after it dries it won't be. Okay, that bottom limb is sinewed and wrapped, and it's going to stay like that for about a month. I'll unwrap it, check the moisture content, and we'll see when we continue to tiller it. No rush. So I don't know if you remember, I said I made 2 bows, one for my son and one for me, out of sinew, out of deer leg sinew. And this is the second bow, and I just got done tillering it, and I'm going to short draw shoot it. And the other one I showed you earlier on the video, at some point the next day or so is going to have more sinew put on it, and it's going to be fine. It'll put a little more weight on it, and I'll tiller it again and get it to the weight I want. So this is a little heavy, and we're just going to shoot it in a little bit, and we're only at 10 yards, and we'll see. I'm just going to pull it back a little bit and shoot it. It's a little heavy. All right, it's a lot heavy, but I'd rather have it a little heavy and shoot it in and remove material on the next day or so. These bows, no matter what I do, whenever I make them and I cut that shelf in there and I make sure that the string favors that side so it pulls into your hand, they're really accurate. I mean, look how accurate that is. I'm not even pulling it back all the way. Okay, that time was all the way. I pulled that back all the way. And looking at the tiller and all, still looks good. Okay, I got a broadhead here, just for the heck of it. I grabbed that broadhead with me. All right, let's see how we do with the deer target over there with no legs. Really good, really good. Okay, let me see if I can pull this back and tell you how much weight it is. I know it's going to be very heavy. I'll take off this tab. Okay, let's see what we get. 50.8 pounds. 50 pounds this is. So we're going to shoot this 50-pound bow a little bit, and then the next day or so I'm going to sand it. I'm going to sand it so it looks good, so it's nice and shaped. Sand the belly, and then take another reading and see how much weight it is. And what I'll do is just remove a few strokes at a time and try to lower the weight a little bit, because 50 is a little too much, because I had a baby in a tear in the rotator cuff. Let me just grab them. Let's go take a look at these shots quick. Okay, these are short draw and then full draw. So I'm going to get these arrows and shoot one more time. Okay, that bear right there is 10 yards. Let's see if we can shoot that bear. 50 pounds is a bit much for me, okay? I got him, but a little to the left. When it goes to the left, it's a pluck. My hand came off my face a little, I felt it. All right, so let's see, that deer down there is 15 yards. Let's be a shooting machine. Try to keep my hand up on target and my hand against my face. Let's see if I can do it. Look at that, right there, right there, right there, on the money. That deer over there, well, that deer is 20 yards. So let's see what we could do. I'm going to move over a little bit just so I'm more in line with it. Okay, let's see. Okay, you saw me fall apart. 50 is too heavy for me. So I'm going to work on reducing the weight on this next couple of days. Yeah, I got the broadhead. Let me shoot the broadhead at the broadhead target. But you see that extra, whatever it is, 5-6 pounds that I'm going to remove? That's the difference between making a great shot, making you a great shot, and making you kind of fall apart. And again, I don't want to hurt my shoulder, right? It's a bit much, 50 with the shoulder. But here we go with the broadhead. Okay, tried to be a shooting machine. Okay, let's go check it out. When the bow is a little heavy and I pluck, when you pluck, it goes to the left. Okay, so down here and over there, the 20 yard I plucked. If it goes to the right and you're a right-handed shooter, that means you grab the you gripped the bow. Okay, upon release, you grip the bow and the arrows went, okay, to the right. But when they go to the left, like here and the 20, what that is you plucked. So here's the 15. I made sure I was on the money with the 15. And then look, here's the broadhead. Okay, we're on the money with the broadhead. So I'm not going to have a second video with me putting sinew on that other bow and retillering it. Maybe at some later date you'll see me shoot that bow. But I was like a little frustrated at first, you know, I'm not used to sinewing bows, you know, sinew backing bows. And when I put the string on, you know, a little out of whack, and I knew it was going to be less weight than I wanted. So, but then all of a sudden it clicked in as I was walking in the house. It clicked in my head that, wait a minute, these bows are sinew back. You could add more laminations, make it stronger, power lambs, you know, make them more pounds. And I got sinew. I got another little bag of deer leg tendon sinews that I can, what I'll do is I'll use a little rubbing alcohol on this quick, clean it up, and some warm water, you know, hot water, not boiling water. And I have more Knox gelatin. I'll soak the sinew in, and I'll just lay some laminations on it, and then wrap it with the gauze, and then check the moisture. And when the moisture's gone, retiller it. But meanwhile, I just wanted to show the other one. I got a 50-pound bow. I want a 44-pound bow, and the other one, that'll be fixed. That'll be fixed with the extra sinew. So thanks for watching. Every day you wake up is a great day. Go out, make a bow, do something. Life is short. Thanks for watching.